Hello everybody, welcome back to Dominions 5. We're continuing our late age man game as part of round 1 of the tournament hosted by Lucid. And this is turn 9. I've got a couple turns for you guys. We'll see how maybe we'll record 1 or 2 episodes tonight. It is turn 9. Let's take a look at the messages. We had expanded here last turn. This is a combined expansion army, so I'm not expecting any difficulties. There was only a small amount of heavy cav. We've only got 2 here. Got a few hits with our crossbows. Let's speed it up a little bit. Alright, the heavy cav gets smushed. Are these guys routing, or they're just guarding commander, I guess. And yeah, lots of crossbow fire, and the Prophet doing a good job. We lost 1 warden. We might have gotten an unlucky cavalry charge early on. I didn't quite check. But anyway, so the warden is too bad. The spearman I don't really care about. Unexpected event, +9 earth gems. That is great. And we finished conjuration and we're working on evocation. Okay, so as planned, we are moving into this province, and we are expecting to bump Tianqi. So let's take a look at our script here. We have our mage. He's got 4 air gems. I've got him on air shield, twist fate, obviously air shield because his sacreds have pretty long weapons, long range weapons, even though he didn't take a range bless on them. If he puts them in front, they can sometimes reach the back row, because I think their range is 50. So we want to get air shield up. So air shield, twist fate, and then some air elementals. And notice in the position, notice how I've positioned my troops here. So I'm expecting him to have attack rears both on top and on the bottom, but he might also have something coming down the middle. And also, I might be fighting the Indies first. It might be me or it might be him. So what we've got is we've got our commanders. Our mage is in the back. So this is going to be the lure for the attack rear script is going to want to get here. And so whatever cavalry is up front here is going to charge right into these defenders here. Now, this is only 8 units, but so far what I've seen from him is not a huge number of cavalry, right? And he has just moved into here, and he doesn't have this, so he hasn't reinforced this army. He couldn't, for example, if he had taken this turn and this turn, then he might attack this with 2 armies, so I would expect a larger number of cavalry. But here I'm expecting something like between 10 and 20. 20 would be really high. I think it's going to be between 10 and 15. And since he's splitting his attack rears between top and bottom, these guys can easily handle, I would say 8 of these guys can actually handle up to, honestly, even like their equal number in heavy cav, because these guys actually have better stats than heavy cavalry, than his barbarian heavy horse. I think the heavy horse are like 15-15. My guys are 16-15. Now, I don't have a lance charge, so his lance charge is going to hurt more. That's for sure. My shield is better, and hopefully we're going to get a little bit of damage done with crossbows in the back. And the difference is that we're going to have a little bit of archery support. Mainly we're going to have heavenly strike support, which is really effective against heavy cav, and hopefully we're going to have some air elementals. So these guys should hold the line on this side. Meanwhile, these guys are kind of in the middle here, and because we're holding attack closest, if they come with another heavy cav here, these guys should intercept them, but we're also positioned well enough so that we can deal with something in the middle. These guys are pretty killy, so they're going to kill whatever squad is sent at them pretty fast. There is like there's a risk here, right? So the center squad, like this squad might go off here, and then the center squad will come right through. Now that's partly why I have the archers here, because a center squad just on attack is probably going to run into these, and they'll chew up these archers, but at least the archers will delay them in time for this squad to finish killing whoever and then move in to help. Anyways, it's the best I can do with what I have, but I'm pretty sure it will get the job done. What else is going on? We are going to take this province. I see no... Well, I don't think... I was going to say Vanheim, but it's Midgard. I don't think Midgard is going to move into here. That'd be really a real big extension for him, and I don't see any sign of a troop buildup here from Sitis, so we're pretty safe to take this. So nothing fancy. We've got a few extra crossbows, and then just a line of dudes on hold and attack closest, so no issues there. I've taken, and I'm putting together my army here. So with these indie crossbowmen and my wardens, and this will be a decent sized army, that depending on what Tianchi is going to do, I could threaten any of these 3 provinces. Meanwhile, this set of reinforcements I'm bringing down south first, just because I do want to have a significant presence on this border, this developing border here with Tianchi. Even though I don't intend to, attack him yet, it's important if we do enter into border negotiations to have an army presence on the border, because then people don't get greedy and they don't start to think stupid things like, oh, I'll just take a few more provinces off him. Like if you've actually got a standing army there, then they are a lot less tempted to do that. We're building palisades here. We're building a palisade here. I think this might have been new this turn. If I'm looking here at the turn, we're a couple turns ahead, so I think this is what I started this turn. I started at palisades here, so I was able to spend all of my money. We're still recruiting wardens, and that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it for this turn. The next piece of diplomacy, the thing is, that's a problem when I don't do these live exactly when I get the turn, is I lose track of when exactly I did diplomacy. So I have some diplomacy from Sitis, but I think it happens after this turn, during the next turn. So let's load up the next turn, and I'll also talk about the diplomacy. It doesn't actually affect exactly the flow of events. Will we get a message from Ulm? Oh, I forgot to answer him. I should answer him. We'll edit that in the current term. Dear people of man, greetings from Ulm. We are behind the Atlanteans and the Chinese, so we won't meet in a long time. In any case, feel free to ask for commerce. Regards. So we'll look at the map in a minute, but first let's look at this. So this is... Oh, Tenchi has pinged a throne, and we happened to be there with a scout, so we saw this without having to sacrifice a scout ourselves, so that's good news. And this is interesting. So the throne has a huge pile of cavemen. Now, cavemen can be nasty because this weapon does a ton of damage, but the attack is really low. So if your guys have pretty high defense, then they can kind of dodge this. Also, they have terrible protection. So although they have 23 hit points, these guys are quite vulnerable to archery fire. And in terms of mage support, we do have a fire 3, so there are going to be fire elementals, and we have some earth 2, maybe a couple of earth elementals, and some skelly spam. But the scripting here, because there's just one blob of cavemen, this is actually something we can definitely take out relatively early. There's going to be fire elementals here, but if we put a blob or 2 of heavy cav on hold and attack rear, I think 2 blobs of heavy cav right next to each other on hold and attack rear. I'm sort of planning this out, but actually what I would do is I would have one line hold and attack rear, and then a blob behind it in a hold and attack rear here. The line is going to run into this, and it's also going to eat all the fire elementals, and they'll probably die or take heavy casualties because of the fire elementals. But then the attack rear squad is going to go murder all of these mages. Meanwhile, over here, we just have... we put a bunch of... meanwhile, in the center, we put a line of sacreds. And we also put our Warden Commanders. The Warden Commanders are on fire rear. With their range and precision, there's a good chance we get a snipe on some of these mages and just gut the Skella spam or the elemental production. And we also put the Wardens there because with the Bless, they also have an increased range. So they are going to, and they're just going to be on fire because they're going to have a good chance to randomly target the back here. And then just like a ton of defenders, basically, right? And they're just going to fire and really cause a lot of damage to these guys. And by the time these guys engage, sure, the front line will take a few casualties, but we're going to wait. Even though this is high DPS, we're actually going to have much higher DPS on our side with all the crossbows firing from behind. So I would actually like to, that might be an early target for a throne. Anyways, we'll deal with that later. So we actually we fight the Indies first. And as you can see, we did bump Kenshi. So we fight the Indies first, which is too bad, but oh well. Fortunately, this isn't a lot of Indies. Oh, he actually has a nature gem. What does he cast? Let's see. Blessing. That's it, nothing. Okay. Unfortunately, as you guys can see, my mage here has decided that this is so threatening. My mage has decided that these guys with 4 protection and blowpipes and short bows are so threatening that we should spend our air gems summoning air elementals to fight these guys. So there go our air gems. Of course, we rout the Indies as soon as they run into our guys, right? And here's 1 air elemental, 2... I think that's it, right? I think, yeah. And he was on conservative. I'm almost certain I should double check that. But let me show you the actual battle. So we run out of air gems. So now we have to fight Tenchi with no air gems. And this is pretty much what I expected. A small blob in the north and a small blob in the south. And he's got a commander in the back here in the middle. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the south. 2 of whom are the ancestor vessels, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on top. Yeah, so as I said, well, let's take a not injured one. So this guy's a little experienced, so he has slightly better stats, but base stats are 15, 15. 12 hit points and all that stuff. And he's also got 1 barbarian. Yeah, he's got one of the lighter, cheaper ones in there as well. Okay, so let's see how this goes. Divine Blessing. Okay, so actually let's pay attention to this. So we got 1. This was actually the only light cavalry here, so he gets decayed in the first volley. That's always nice. Any other hits? Okay. Oh, and well, the other thing you can see here is that our even though our mage doesn't have any air gems left to cast air elementals, we got evocation 2 this turn, so we're doing lightning bolts, and we're actually doing it with very low fatigue because we're an extra air level. So it's actually a pretty good lightning bolt. Now, if we look at what's incoming, this is still the decayed dude. And let me just see. Okay. Oh, well, I messed up. Let me watch that again, because I'd like to do is just get an idea of how much our archery fire actually did before, the first melee hit happens. I think I got it. Okay, so if we look here, Ancestor Vessels all at full HP, Heavy Cav all at full HP, and the Light Cav died. So far we have completely missed every single shot. Okay, let's... Okay, here, we've joined combat here in the south, so let's take a look at that. 1 barb here has taken a bit of damage, another one here has taken 5. Meanwhile, I've eaten like some heavy cav lance charges here, so I've lost 3 guys. Okay, not great so far. Now things are getting a little messier. Now here, it really looks like I didn't take as many heavy cav charges. But you can see after the lance charge, these guys are only doing like... so this lance is no longer effective. So it's just a falchion and a hoof, which are doing with 12 attack 18 and 12 attack 13 damage. But these guys have 18 protection, even if it's piercing, right? So except for the lance charge, after this, we're going to take a tiny bit of chip damage. Whereas on our end, we're doing 24 slashing damage each time. Meanwhile, on this side, if we look at our defenders, they ate the cavalry charge like champs. Nobody died. I mean, they took some damage, but so far so good. We're seeing a bit more damage being shared. Okay, we got a decay on one guy, so no matter what happens, he's gonna die. So we can see that here we're having a bit of trouble hitting these guys. Their defense skill, because their cavalry is pretty high, it's 16. But our attack skill, especially for the guys that... This guy got Blood Surge, so his attack is actually buffed pretty high to 17. But even the non-buffed guys, their attack is 13. It's better than an average troop. And we can see here that we've got some... the spells, the Heavenly Winds and the Lightning Bolts are helping to deal extra damage here. And now we see that the heavy cap here has just fallen. You know, they just get one shot as soon as a hit lands. And so these guys rout. But even if they make it off the field, they're going to die because they're decayed. And then when I saw this, I thought my guys were routing, but they're not. They're now turning around to help the defenders here. But honestly, the defenders, these guys had it. But now, we're going to chop up the rest of these guys, and they're going to run, but not before we get them. So, success. So we killed 5 Ancestor Vessels, 7 Barbs. We killed everything except his commander. We lost 3 Wardens and 3 Defenders, so an excellent job there on our part. Okay, then we had a battle here. Oh, this was the Cindy Province. Let's zoom through this. We hit a few guys here with crossbows. These crossbows are firing archers. Chop, chop through the small, heavy infantry, cause them to rout, and then on to the light infantry and militia. Fortunately, the crossbows decided to fire at my archers. Good. Okay, unexpected event in man, plus 3 death gems, great. And then we got minus 5 unrest and plus 87 gold. Sweet. And bro with the fro, the Castellan died from a disease. So he got disease, we knew this was coming. So that's unfortunate. A new famous hero, however, is Degar. His heroic ability is unequaled obesity. And so he now has 14 hit points. Good for you, buddy. Unfortunately, he has battle fright. So he's pretty low morale. Okay, so this was a success. And so was this. Yeah. Okay, before I forget, let's look at Ulm. So Ulm is situated here. I believe this is the capital of Ulm. I don't have yet a good read on his scouting, on his expansion to the north and to the south and to the west. Looks like to the east, both Tianqi and Ulm have left this to the last minute because it's a lot of heavy cav. So that's unfortunate. Now, Tianqi, despite what seemed like early signs of trouble, like maybe a failed expansion here, has actually carved out a nice bit of territory for himself, especially in the east here against Midgard. And he has sort of successfully pushed to the north here. So he has, while I won the race to my north, I have lost the race against him to the south. But that's, you know, we aimed for one and got that one, and I think we kind of got the better trade. This is a mountains province with 10,000 pop because it's this is a province with a large tag, but we've got the much wealthier large province. But if we look at him, he right now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 provinces kind of locked in. But he has, and then he could probably get these 2 more to 14, but he has 3 here that he could also get from Ulm. So that's a pretty nice, solid chunk. And he benefits from not having any water in the way. We went here quickly, and then we were able to get this. But because we've got a lake here, this was something that in our expansion pattern, we had to kind of double back at some point. Now, we also unfortunately lost some ground to Atlantis on the west and a bit to Satis on the right. However, it looks like, well, we could make a play for this province, but that's kind of trickier because it is going to risk confrontation with Tianqi. And actually, we're going to talk about some Diplo now. Or you know what? We're going to save, maybe I'll save, no, I'll talk about the first stage of Diplo. I'm going to talk about Diplo with Satis. And I think then we'll end the episode, and then we'll do the next episode with Tianqi Diplo and my next turn, which is my current turn. I say that, but I'm wrong. I have 2 more turns. So let me just say that Satis, I believe it was last turn, Satis sent me a message in Discord and said, hey, it looks like we're neighbors. Would you like to have a nap, something like a nap 2? And I agreed, even though I believed at the time, and I do believe now, that I might go after Satis pretty early. Satis seems to not have expanded very well, and so he's pretty weak, and somebody's going to come kill him early, and that might as well be me. So part of this is I'm going to try to keep contesting this. So I agreed to a nap, but we didn't agree or formalize any borders. And so I'm going to try to take these 2 provinces. And if we bump, we bump, and I think I'll win the bumps. And that is fine with me. And if he wants to escalate it to war, he can do that. Also, he wanted an nap 2, and a nap 2 is fine for me because I am going to declare war on him, and I don't care if he has 2 turns to prepare. That is going to be fine by me. I think when the war does come, whoever he fights, honestly, is going to be pretty inevitable. But those are going to be plans for later. We're not going to talk about that right away. The reason I'm happy with having a nap is because it does allow me to, I'm building a palisades. I started a palisades in this province, and allows me to do that uninterrupted. Now, I had a bit of hiccups there. I happen to have a garrison here, so I'm not too worried about him trying to interrupt my fort construction. But it does mean if I'm able to get these provinces, that I can also build up my infrastructure here before he attacks. And I think that my best timing for a war is going to be as soon as I get my first forts up, I'll be kind of ready to declare war, because I'm going to try to get a bunch of infrastructure up early. And then that's what's always vulnerable, is in an early war, if you can be raided, you don't want people to ruin your budding infrastructure. So once I get these forts, whatever forts I want to build on this border up, then I'll feel a lot more comfortable declaring war. So let's talk about the rest of this turn. Actually, there is something here. I had the choice of going here into Tianqi, and I chose not to. And that is because I did reach out to Tianqi, which is played by General Confusion. And I'll talk more about the Diplo later on, but as a consequence of that, I decided not to go here, and instead to use this army to move up this way. And then hopefully after that I can target these 2 provinces. Now, I've got a scout here, and he's on the lookout for a Midgard army. If next turn I get here, and there's still no Midgard army here, I will take this very wealthy province the turn after. And honestly, judging by the Midgard army, I still might try, because it's worth it, because it's a very wealthy province. Meanwhile, I'm also pinging this throne, because I'd like to see... this is going to be a very late... throne to take, because it's got a solar serpent there and everything, but I'm curious, and I'm also pinging this throne, which is phantasmal warriors and stuff like that. We got scouts moving out across the map. Infrastructure, I think we're building Building our palisades here. That's it for that. Okay, let's wrap up this episode, and next episode we'll talk a bit more about the diplomacy with Tianchi and the next turn. See you guys then.